do, so I'll give you a job any day. I just can't top what Mark Thomas said about PSVOs, quite frankly, or what Will said on Channel 4 last night. But they are pernicious. I came to it not by some Home Office civil liberties engagement. It was all about art. Bob talked about it earlier. It was all about buskers. And what was going to happen to them. And that was what worried me. But then the implications now have spread so that, of course, buskers are affected. And Mark talked about, the definition of non-compliant busking in Oxford and so on and so forth. But as you've heard today, this whole issue of public space protection orders has grown, and local authorities, the police and so on, are all using them, and indeed all the other orders in the Antisocial Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act, dispersal notices, community protection notices, as another way of infringing the freedom of expression, the freedom of movement that people have enjoyed for many, many years. And, my worst fear is that this is going to ratchet up and up. Mark talked about some of the local successes, and of course, one of the key things is that people should be lobbying their local authorities like they've done in Exeter. And Mark showed me some fantastic photos of his latest demo in Exeter, showing what can be done by local residents if they object to these things being done in their name. But also, we've got to try and make sure that the guidance that's given to local authorities is much improved. At the moment, they seem to be interpreting it in exactly how they want them done. And that's the worst of it. So there are still local authorities, and if you've got any links where there are a huge number of people being dragged into the net of the criminal law, something like 80 councils so far. The Manifesto Group, which is mounting a major national campaign, is doing a survey at the moment. And so far we've counted 80 councils, but there are many, many more who seem to be about to introduce these as well. Let me just give you a few examples beyond those that Mark gave. Sadly, I don't know whether you can hear me, but if you can, this demonstrates the freedom of expression, and I'm very happy. So let me give you a few examples. Kettering has banned begging, foul and abusive language, assertive, aggressive charity collection, loitering, skateboarding, and under 18s out between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. That's pretty egregious, isn't it? We've heard about Exeter wanting to seize and destroy the possessions of homeless people. Southampton, loitering with intent to beg is now a criminal offence. Not begging, but intent to beg. We've heard about Oxford, and my God, I've got pages on Oxford, and Mark is far more entertaining about Oxford. And let's face it, perhaps one of the best ways of dealing with some of these councils is laughing them out of court, quite frankly. We've got Bassett Law District Council has prohibited under 16-year-olds gathering in groups of 3 or more. I thought the definition of collective prayer was something of that sort. So even if you decided to have a prayer meeting with over 3 people for under 16-year-olds, you couldn't do that. It can also prohibit shouting, swearing, or acting in a manner as to cause annoyance, harassment, alarm, or distress to any person. Hillingdon, well, they've got the whole kit and caboodle. It's skateboards, pedal cycles, roller skates, roller blades, and they probably failed to mention those things that people have been falling off recently and have been bursting into flames. That's the one. Thank you. But they failed to add that, so let's get out there and burst into flames. And then Swindon, Mark mentioned Swindon. We've got a very similar thing. I tell you, skateboarding is going to be a very rare sport very shortly. But the government still continues to be in denial. I raised it when the bill was going through Parliament. It's been in place for about a year and a half now. I've been asking questions in the House. I've asked Home Office ministers to alter the guidance, and if necessary we're going to alter the primary legislation this week. And Mark, thank you very much, signed the letter that I sent to the Home Office, and I asked them, I said to Theresa May, I said what she needs to do is write a letter to all local authorities warning that examples of this kind of abuse we've documented should stop, and that she meets with me and representatives of concerned organisations to discuss the clarification and strengthening of the guidance that goes out to local authorities and the police, so that we don't have this creeping abuse of all these different kind of orders. We really can't have our local authorities and our police services cracking down on our culture. They're ripping the heart out of our town centres and destroying the vibrancy in our local communities. So we've got to do something, otherwise we lose the essence of our public spaces. And I have heard everything that's being said today from all directions, private, public. This is happening. And people like us are now beginning to realise what's happened, what is happening, and protesting about the current rules, and rightly so. And today is a great demonstration of concern by all. And Anna and Brad, thank you so much for organising this today. And these concerns are shared by not only individuals, but a whole range of organisations, Liberty, the Musicians Union, even that most radical of organisations, the Kennel Club. So let's get out there and step up the campaign, and let's reclaim our streets from the control freaks. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. I mean, just to